Well, in fact, for more on the Indian PM's visit to Russia, let's talk to Professor Sreeram Chaulia from the Jindal School of International Affairs in New Delhi. Thank you for joining us here on RT today. Now, it's the third time President Medvedev and Prime Minister Singh have met this year. What's making Russia and India so close, do you think?
It's the world situation. We are looking at a world order that is in flux and is transforming, and the emphasis is on BRIC economies to come together and put forward joint positions, not only on the global economic crisis, but also, as your correspondent said, on political and strategic issues. I think the relationship between Russia and India has always been very tight, with no air at all. It's always been a close embrace, and these summit meetings between heads of state just go on to reaffirm the importance of the relationship, and the fact that they are happening so frequently implies that both sides realize that we are on the cusp of a major transformation of the world order, and these two, along with the rest of the BRIC countries, need to come together on various issues, including Syria. In fact, one of the reasons I think these two countries need to meet more often is to coordinate positions so that India understands what Russia is already doing in order to mediate in the Syrian conflict. How about a BRIC peace plan? You know, we have all the roadmaps and the peace plans in resolving major international issues are coming from Europe and the United States, and we need to change that. So we need to have some bold and imaginative diplomacy, and I hope that along with the nitty-gritty of the trade and the defense deals, we also look at the larger world issue. Prime Minister Singh actually mentioned on the eve of his departure that they will be discussing in Moscow issues relating to international peace and stability. And that is where, you know, if at all BRIC have to become the building blocks of a new world order, it has to start with discussing how to resolve current ongoing conflicts and how to find a non-militaristic approach to resolving them. And that is where Russia has taken the lead, and I believe India should tag along and show a joint affirmation of the Russian efforts.
Do you think then, now you mentioned the BRICS club there, as it were, I mean, do you think will this make Russia even stronger within that BRIC organization, joining the WTO?
Oh, absolutely. I think Russia has, because of the Soviet tradition going back, and continues to be a major power in the world militarily. I think Russia has always had a global approach to its foreign policy. India is somewhat more parochial and has not really treated the whole world as its backyard. But Russia, the partnership with Russia is inevitably going to drag India into taking a stand on important global issues. We cannot be a bystander, and many of us in India have been advocating that we need to coordinate our positions closer with Russia, and that's how the whole group's salience will rise in world affairs. And of course, Russia continues to be proactive in its diplomacy in Syria and with the ongoing crisis in the Middle East and elsewhere. So I think Russia can always, although economically India, Russia and Brazil are roughly trillion-dollar economies only compared to China, which is much larger, the fact is we have to come up with ideas and proposals and be problem solvers. And that is where I believe Russia's importance within BRIC will also rise as a result of this tight partnership with India and joint proposals. I would like to see joint diplomatic initiatives and démarches that will raise the salience of BRIC as a global problem solver.
Okay, you mentioned China there. Now, defense is one of the major topics during the visit, with possible military sales. How much of this might be in response to India's giant neighbor China, which is beefing up its military?
Well, India has its own needs and its strategic concerns vis-a-vis China. Russia has always been a dependable supplier of various, I believe there's also a nuclear submarine that's on the cards that could be transferred to India from Russia in the coming future, and that's also on the discussion menu. So there will always be individual national interests that relate to other BRIC member countries, especially those who are in the same neighborhood. But you can also look at it as a possibility for Russia being a bridge builder between India and China, which have had tensions in the past. The fact that India is now entering the Shanghai Cooperation Organization as a full member, where China and Russia are the leaders, will mean that there is already a space being created for some of these disputes to be creatively resolved. The fact that Russia has very, very strong strategic ties with China and historically very good relations with India mean that Russia actually is in a pivot position to be able to bring the BRIC together and the BRICS and to make them, a meaningful entity that can change the world order.
Okay,
We're always talking about, change is coming and power is shifting to the east.
Let me ask you very briefly if you can. Nuclear energy will come up as well in these discussions. Now, there have been safety concerns at India's controversial plant where Russia is building reactors. What needs to be done to provide reassurance over safety?
I think the technical responsibility after Fukushima falls upon both the host country and the nuclear reactor supplying country. And Russia and India can work together technically. We have the scientific know-how to avoid Chernobyl and Fukushima kind of disasters. Russia itself has suffered in the past in Soviet times, and we have now enough accumulated evidence to use the lessons of the past to avoid them, and I'm sure that we can overcome this, and the Kudankulam projects will go ahead. India on its side has to do its homework, but we are positive about Russia's cooperation in this field.
Okay, thank you for that indeed, Professor Sreeram Chaulia from the Jindal School of International Affairs in New Delhi. Thank you again.